If you're working as a health, fitness, or a wellness professional, you're absolutely going to run into clients that are dealing with symptoms that can come about from low stomach acid levels. And it's very popular now to supplement with Betaine HCL, and you may be already helping clients supplement with Betaine HCL because it can really help turn around a wide variety of symptoms and health issues. You know, most clients that you see dealing with acid reflux symptoms, those are almost always because they don't have enough stomach acid. It's not caused by too much stomach acid like advertisers like us to believe. But beyond acid reflux, people can improve issues like burping and bloating and constipation and even nutrient deficiencies. Now there's other issues that can create some of these problems, but low stomach acid is a common cause for a lot of these issues. So we're really a big fan of supplementing with Betaine HCL when it's appropriate. But as a health professional, it's crucial for you to understand that the HCL has the ability to improve a wide variety of issues for your clients, but for some clients, it can also create some significant health issues. You're not going to want to miss this.
TC Hale is not a doctor and does not claim to be a doctor or licensed in any type of medical field. Don't be an idiot and use anything heard on the show as medical advice. This information should be used for educational purposes only, and you should contact your doctor for any medical advice. Now get off me.
So to understand the biggest HCL mistake that people make, we need to understand digestion. So when your clients eat food, the stomach should make hydrochloric acid, or HCl, and that's meant to help start acidifying that food so the food can be broken down and we can access the nutrients in that food. But the problem is, for a wide variety of reasons, a lot of people are not making enough stomach acid to truly acidify that food and break it down so they can get the nutrients out of that food. So if you want to understand reasons why your clients might not be making enough stomach acid, we'll put a link in the description below for our video on why can't my clients make HCl. But what's going on here is that once this food is acidified properly, it leaves the stomach and goes down here into the duodenum. And once this acidity hits this duodenum here, it triggers the gallbladder to squirt this alkaline bile down. And bile is this soapy substance that's made by the liver, and then it comes down and it's stored and concentrated in the gallbladder until it's time to use it. So this acidity coming here triggers this alkaline bile to come down and help neutralize those acids. And this alkaline bile substance meeting with this acidic substance, when they collide, it creates like a sizzle, because these are opposite pHs, and that sizzle really helps us bust the food apart and get all the nutrients out of that food. And then the pancreas is also squirting some bicarb down here. That helps neutralize too, but the bile is really the crucial player in this neutralizing action. So that neutralizing action is really important, and the bile also helps us emulsify our dietary fats. So if a person's bile becomes too thick and sticky to flow correctly, which is very common, then it doesn't come down here, it doesn't neutralize the acids leaving the stomach, and we don't have the ability to really break down our dietary fats and do things like access fat-soluble vitamins like A, E, D, and K. Those are kind of important. So both of these processes working correctly are really crucial. So if a person isn't creating enough stomach acid, they're not doing step one of the digestive process. They're not acidifying. So then we help our clients, oh, here's some HCl, you can supplement with this in the middle of your meal, and that will help acidify your food correctly, and it corrects that broken function. Now they're acidifying their food, and they can digest that food better. But remember, step two is to neutralize those acids. So if we help a client fix this stomach acid function that was not working correctly, now they're acidifying that food correctly, this acid food starts coming down here into the duodenum, but if their bile has become too thick and sticky to flow correctly, it can't come down and neutralize those acids. So those acids are coming through here and not getting neutralized. Well, those acids are made to break down protein. Well, guess what this duodenum and our whole intestinal tract is made of? Yeah, it's protein. So we're putting this acid in here that can basically digest a hole right through the intestinal tract. The body doesn't really want that to happen, so it'll like bring all the water that it can to cool this off and then rush it out of the system as fast as it can. The client has diarrhea and they shoots them up the toilet like a rocket. So the even worse factor that can come about is these acids coming down here not getting neutralized like they should can start to irritate this intestinal lining of this duodenum and create what's called a duodenal ulcer. Now there's other causes of duodenal ulcers. A lot of them can be caused by a bacterial overgrowth in the stomach, and that bacteria coming down here and irritating that lining and creating that ulcer. But when this stomach acid is not getting neutralized, it has the ability to either create irritations that over time can become an open wound like an ulcer, or it can really magnify an ulcer that may already be there. So we really don't want to be helping clients create duodenal ulcer issues. It's not a good time. It's a hospital visit kind of pain, and you don't want to have your clients dealing with those kind of problems. So not only can it create these loose stool issues and the duodenal ulcer type problems, but it's actually quite common for someone to start taking HCL and then have that create trouble because bile is not flowing. Remember that it's this acidic product coming down here that triggers the gallbladder to squirt that bile down there. So if the client already had low stomach acid, you know they had low stomach acid because supplementing with HCL helps improve those symptoms. So when they had low stomach acid, the food that was coming down here wasn't really acidic enough to trigger that gallbladder to get the bile down there. Now, if the bile stays in the gallbladder's job is to concentrate that bile. So it just continues to concentrate it until it concentrates it into sludge or even gallstones. So for that reason, we never allow our clients to supplement with Betaine HCL unless they're also taking steps to thin this bile out to make sure that it can flow correctly and come down and neutralize those acids. Now, maybe they've lost their gallbladder. If a client has lost their gallbladder, they don't have this bolus of bile that's stored ready to come down here. So in those cases, we might want to supplement with some ox bile to kind of neutralize those acids in that way. And that can be a tricky situation to help the clients adjust their timing to get the timing of that ox bile correct. It's really important that they take that away from food, not with food like so many people say, because when you take ox bile with food, then you're neutralizing the acids in the stomach. Remember, bile is alkaline. So we'll put a link in the description below for our video on how to adjust ox bile dose and timing to give you insights on how to help clients adjust that so that they can get that right for them. But if they haven't lost their gallbladder, the goal shouldn't be to use ox bile and have bile go through the stomach. We want to restore the natural bile function of the gallbladder and the body. So if someone's going to supplement with HCL, we like them to make sure they're taking steps to thin this bile out so that it can flow down and neutralize the acids that are coming from the stomach. Now, don't use like, oh, is my client's stool loose? And then that's how I know if the bile isn't flowing correctly. There's a lot of other signs that bile might not be flowing correctly. We'll put a link in the description below for our video on 10 signs your client's bile is not flowing correctly. But a loose stool, you definitely don't want to have them supplement with HCL if the stool is loose, because it could really magnify that loose stool in a really big way. But even if the stool is not loose, you have to understand that some clients will have a misleading normal stool. And what that means is if they don't have enough stomach acid here and they don't have enough bile flow, well, both of them not working correctly will allow the stool to kind of move through at an okay pace. The stool changes its speed according to its acidity level. So if bile is flowing great and it's coming down here to neutralize acids, but there's not really much acids, then that's going to make that stool a little bit too alkaline, and it'll tend to go through the intestinal tract a little bit slower and can lead to some constipation issues. And if the stomach acid is great, but there's no bile to neutralize it, then that stool is going to be too acidic and it'll move through a little too fast and can lead to loose stool issues. But if both sides are kind of broken, it could move through at an appropriate pace. And that doesn't mean that they're digesting their food. They're probably not getting all the nutrients out of their food if neither side of digestion is working correctly. But they won't have the symptom of stool problems because both are broken equally. And it's really common to see that because this acid is what kind of triggers this bile to come down. Now, consuming dietary fats can also trigger the gallbladder to squirt some bile down here, but the stomach acid is the big trigger to get that whole bolus to come down and help neutralize those acids. So you can see that helping clients supplement with HCL and restore the natural body function, let it function the way that it's supposed to function, can be huge. It's going to help a lot of clients improve a lot of issues. But you really want to understand how to teach them to take steps to thin that bile out to make sure that it's flowing correctly so they don't create these major issues. So if you want to understand how to do that, jump over right now and check out our video on 5 steps to help clients improve bile flow so you can learn how to help them thin that out so it'll flow the way that it should. I can't wait to hear about your results.